Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday, November 16th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this will wrap it up for the week. No chart lessons on Fridays. I'm probably going to take the whole week off next week. I may work Monday, but I'll probably take off. I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. I'm planning on maybe taking the whole week off, or I may just I may work Monday, and I may even come in for a little bit Tuesday, and then take off from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just depends on what the weather's like and how bored I am, or if there's anything else going on. I've got some other personal work issues I could take care of, things I need to do around the house, that kind of thing. So I may take off, I may not. It just depends on, again, how bored I get. Um, but definitely take off from Wednesday on. And so if we don't come back in next week, this will be it for. Won't be back till after Thanksgiving, which that date would be not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. So uh, anyway, uh, here's a look at today's daily chart. You can see we didn't get a reversal here. We actually pushed higher again. This looks a lot more bullish than it really did on the intraday chart. It was mostly a range day that closed on its highs. But it looks bullish here, so we could push up again. We're definitely in overbought territory up here, so we'll just have to see what happens. As of now, this thing just doesn't want to sell off. If you'll notice that most of the movement uh, comes in the after. I mean, they moved a good bit of it here after 2:30, which there's not a lot of volume and stuff, and they'll try to move it high during the overnight. They tend to be moving it high on very thin volume, so um, this, and you can see we're still pushing higher. It's 3:30, and there's very little volume, and this thing's still pushing higher, so we could still close higher yet. So it's not done yet. I'm just looking over at the intraday chart. It's still pushing higher, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, it looks pretty bullish again today. Uh, so let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart and take a look at it. Okay, here's our 2,000 tick chart. You can see we spent most of this day in this range and a good bit of it in the lower half until after 2:30. They broke it higher, and now we're testing the highs of the day. So we're going to close at least near the highs the way it's looking. We still got 30 more minutes to go. I guess things could change, but we could push higher or sell off some. But this thing just continues to refuse to sell off. So for whatever reason, the buying's coming in on it. Again, it's low volume, and so it doesn't take much to push it up in these thin hours like this. So somebody's coming in after hours and buying it up. But anyway, we did have a news item at 7:30 this morning. I don't know why that disappeared momentarily. We did have a news item at 7:30 this morning, and that would be this blue box right here. So really best to wait till after 7:30 to trade. So we'll pick up from there. Normally you can start trading about 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Now just remember you have to convert your times to mine if you're not on Central Time. So Central U.S. time. But you can see we worked up, had a break at the up here at the pretty much was the overnight highs. Pushed up, failed, and turned down and sold off. I marked this green. This is real close to being red. That's a trap right there when it pushes up, turns down. If it breaks lower than that, there's plenty of room back to the EMA. You probably can get a scalp out of that. You got to be careful with these trades that make a new high though, because somebody sent me one of these today, and it was a loser, and they couldn't. I think it was a trade from yesterday though, and they just couldn't figure out why it was a loser. But prices had broke higher out of here, and they were actually finding resistance above the line, much like this right here. And they went short just below it. It went a few ticks and reversed on them and pushed to a new high and then turned and went right where they thought it was going to go the first time. And that's frustrating as heck. But these trades where they break out, it's all about the timing. Going short here is the right idea in most cases, majority of the time. But the timing of it is sometimes difficult. So usually you're better off when it makes a new high like this to wait on a lower high. And you can see you don't get one here. If you didn't take that first entry, you don't get an opportunity to go because you never get a lower high. And that's just part of it. So don't be careful taking these trades on these breakouts that make new highs. Generally, you want to see it close inside. If this would have closed inside, I probably would have made it red. But because it did close outside, you got to be real careful with it. But we're a good bit away from the EMA there. So the odds are it'll probably pull back to it. But there's congestion here too. And so this is like a little failed break out of the congestion. And it could push through the other side and fail and come back again. But you'd probably have been scapped out by then. So this is a nice move down. If you catch this and can get a runner, it's a nice move. Um, then it bounces, and then we just start working sideways. There is a triple test right here. You can see that in a relatively small, well, low risk bar, only 6 ticks. You can actually get in that with 8 tick rule. I like going long there just to look for it to run back to the other side. Makes a higher low here and breaks out. Too much congestion, runs up again, and here we are again. We turn down. It's a new high, but it's a failed breakout. You can't wait and go short here. If you trade this one, you have to trade the breakout and then trade it on the engulfing bar. Maybe you take that, but it's a little aggressive. And you do get a lower high here, and somebody sent me this trade, asked me what I thought about it. Your signal bar is not good enough. Don't trade that signal bar. It's a neutral signal bar, and you could get trapped on that. So that signal bar does not qualify for an entry. Turns out to be a great trade, but it's still not a great entry, or setup rather. So, and then of course you got a double top here, and you get a first entry, second entry. So that's a failure. If it breaks below there, I like going with it. There's enough room to get out. It's a trap really though, so you're just kind of playing the trap. It ends up running a good ways, but bounces. I don't see any chance to get anything there. Close outside new high. I like this one. This looks similar to the trade we talked about yesterday. It's another lower high from here, but it's a break and big bearish bar. I like that one. That's a great move there. The only problem with this one, it didn't turn down on that next bar. So for that reason, you could argue that, hey, maybe it should be green, a little aggressive. But we're trending down here. Excuse me. We didn't quite make the lows yet, so there's a chance we'll make another leg down here. I didn't measure these, but probably going to be close. So that's what you're looking for, a measured leg. Hopefully. You can see we found that and went sideways before we went lower. Market turned out to be weaker. There's actually a second entry that short there, but it's too much support. Too much. It looks a little congested. It would have worked, but again, it's not a very good setup. Another breakout that fails, but not a good setup. And finally, here you get a triple test at the bottom, the lows, and this is actually slightly higher low, but you can easily see the triple test there. So I like going long there just to ride it to the other side. And then you got a little channel working up. You get a close outside, new high, and it turns down right there. If this would have been a better signal bar, maybe you'd take that trade. I marked it green. I just wish there was a little better signal bar. Maybe it was not quite so big. But still, you might take that trade. Fails out the bottom, no real setup to go long. That's an inside bar, and it's not an equal low. Turns back down here. This one's tempting, but I don't like trading that on the engulfing portion of it because it has too much stem, and then it closes way down here, almost into support, or support. So we just push through there. It's a shame, but I still don't think you can risk that. Then we just chopping sideways. We drop on down. There's just no setups here to go short. There is a second entry here, but that signal bar doesn't qualify. and then we make a new low, and then we make a higher low right here. This really looks a little sideways in congestion, so congested. Um, I like this as just a higher low that looks like we're, most breakouts fail, so we're probably going to run back up and test this at a minimum. So that's the reason I like that one. There's a second entry long here, but no, not a good signal bar. It's on the wrong side of the support resistance too, really. But if it was a good signal bar, you may take that anyway. Just chopping sideways, it runs up. And I just don't see any way to enter any of that all the way up. There is a second entry long here, but no setup. Break, runs to a new high, turns down. And we just keep chopping sideways here. There is a second entry short here, but it's not back to the trend line, possible trend line. It's hard to know what's going on right there. It's a little bit early to be looking for a short, really, but it does end up confirming the trend line, or it sets the it really just kind of sets the trend line because you don't get a good fit right there. This is where it confirms it, but it's just a first entry, so you really can't go short there. Then you get a break, pull back. Notice you got a new low though. You get a first entry, pull back, and second entry here. And this one breaks higher and turns out you could trade that on the engulfing bar or go short right there. And I meant to mark this one too. The problem with this one is you don't have much room there. This is the one you're more worried about. The previous one, if it's like a second entry but that's probably going to trap some longs that think they fooled everybody up here and got everybody trapped short, and instead it just traps more longs. So I like that one. I just forgot to mark it. I would, you could trade that on it's got a lot of stem. You could still maybe trade that on the engulfing bar, but I'd probably wait for it to close. It just gives you a little less risk on the engulfing bar because it's a pretty big bar. Runs down here, fails out the bottom. That is a second entry long, and that's a relatively low risk bar. Maybe you take a chance on that. I'd wait on a higher low, which comes here, and I don't like that. You get a failed second entry short here, but it doesn't set up. We're still below the EMA on that one. There's a hidden second entry here. You might just call that a break out of the congestion if you saw it that way. Maybe you take it because it gives you a triple test too. So if you see the failed breakout with a triple test, that gives you a little more, gives you another reason to go long, even though it makes a new low on the breakout. So you got a triple test now with a nice signal bar going. So it's probably going to run back into the congestion sideways stuff there and maybe go all the way to the top, and instead it keeps going and going and going. So maybe you take that one as well. We turn down here, close outside, and you see there was just nothing. It just was not a very good trading day. There's not many setups, not much going on at all. No trades in there that you can take, and then you're into 230. And you see they're still pushing it late into the day. No volume really, and they're just pushing it higher. I don't trust this market one bit. As long as it's going higher, we got to go with it, but I do not trust it. When there's any volume, they can't take it up. They can't take it up unless the volume's thin. And so I don't know who's coming in after hours and buying it. Doesn't matter. They're doing it and they're driving it up. So we'll see what tomorrow brings, Friday brings, wrapping it up going into the holiday. Be kind of dangerous maybe to take a lot of long-term trades into the holiday. So might see some shoring up of some accounts tomorrow. Tomorrow could be a big move day. We might get a trend. We could keep going up, so we could even get a trend to the upside. But this market, nothing would surprise me right now with this market. So it just wants to go up, and so we can't argue with it. We go with it, even if the fundamentals don't support it, we still go with it. So the market can outlast the fundamentals by a long shot. So We're not fundamental traders. We are chart traders, and we do what the chart tells us. And the chart says right now, go up. There's actually another trend here that I never drew. And you can see that clearly a two-legged, or I'm sorry, or not two-legged, but two-tiered trend line working up there. And it's still in play. This is a little higher than this. It's more like that. All right, that's pretty much going to do it. Not much else you can say about today. There's still some trades in there, but it's just not a great trading day. Got to be patient, and it's difficult. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. If I don't come back next week, I hope everybody enjoys the Thanksgiving holiday week and enjoys the time off. And go enjoy it with your family. Get away from trading for a few days, and we'll see you the following week. But I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.